Welcome in my kitchen, everybody. Today I'm gonna make something a little bit different. I'm gonna be canning tom yum soup. Here's my homegrown hot peppers that I just cut off from the corner of my kitchen. I'm gonna incorporate this into the broth. So the broth is the most important base for my soup to achieve a really good taste without making it too hot. Not everybody likes spicy hot. I'm gonna be using lemongrass that is freeze-dried. You can certainly use fresh lemongrass, but I want to use this up anyway. I'm gonna use ginger instead of galangal. That's accessible for most of you. I like it with ginger, so that's what I'm gonna use. My homegrown hot peppers, not too much, and we're gonna actually make a bunch of broth, so this is really not gonna make it too hot. And I'm also gonna be cheating and using store-bought red curry paste. This is a good cheat. I have a bunch of frozen cilantro still, so I'm gonna throw that in there to finish that off. I will put my dry basil in here and hot pepper flakes as well. And this is just a different hotness, and also it gives it a nice color, so I like to use that. I also want to use up my coriander powder. Before we get to all these spices and herbs, I'm gonna make a shrimp stock out of shrimp. Now, I am not canning the shrimp. The reason why I'm doing this is because we're gonna have shrimp cocktail tomorrow. So I'm just gonna cook the shrimp in this broth to get that shrimp taste out. Now you can also use fish sauce instead. I'm just not a fan, so that's why I am doing it this way. I'm going to boil filtered water. I'm gonna make 10 pints of canned tom yum soup, but I'm gonna also want to have some leftovers for the next couple of days to eat fresh. While my water gets to the boiling point, I'm gonna prepare some of my vegetables for the broth. That's gonna be garlic and a big head of onion, and cut these up as well. I think I get another onion. There we go. I will be putting in a few carrots. And I only can buy these so-called baby carrots today. I'm gonna push these. Alright, so now my water is boiling. Here I have about almost 2 pounds of shrimp, frozen. I'm going to bring this to boil again, and I'm going to watch it when it turns pink, then it's time to get it out. Okay, now I can take these out. So now I have my shrimp broth. I'm gonna start throwing in all the other things that will make my broth beautiful. So cut onions, ginger, garlic that you want to smash a little bit, peppers, not much. I'm gonna put in my cilantro, a little bit of coriander powder. Again, it's just using it up. Lemongrass. Again, I'm using it pretty much all up. Can't have too much of that. A little bit of basil. I'm gonna put in this red curry paste. I don't know how hot this is, so it's not hot at all. I'm putting the whole jar in here. We'll wash this out. And just a tiny bit of hot pepper flakes. And a few carrots. We'll boil this covered for about a half an hour or so, just to cook all these vegetables and get the flavors out of them. Add the salt to your taste. While I'm waiting for my broth to cook, I'm gonna prepare my vegetables. That's gonna actually go into the final soup. Yes, I'm gonna be putting mushroom in there. And if you ever had canned mushroom, you know that they don't get mushy. I'm gonna wash these in some cold water. I do not like too much vegetables in my tom yum soup. I don't want it to be loaded with vegetables. I'm gonna try to make them a little chunky. Next thing I'm gonna do is tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. And the fun part of the tomatoes is that I'm not gonna chop them up. Or should I? What do you guys think? Would it be better if I chop it up? Next, I have a small bag of snap peas. I just wanted some more green in it, so as far as what kind of vegetables you put in here, it's gonna be totally up to you. But I think these will be cut into half. These are just too big. I'm gonna go ahead and chop these up. I think if I cut them into half, it'll be good. Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. And I think my last vegetable, well, actually I'm gonna have some peppers in this too, but I'm gonna put a little bit of cabbage in, just for texture and color, of course. So what I'm gonna do is cut them into kind of strings, like that. And of course these are my frozen peppers from my garden. And again, I'm just putting a little bit for texture and contrast. Okay, so I did taste it again, and I decided that I needed some more garlic and onion taste, so I put in a couple of teaspoons of each until I actually did like the taste. I should have put more onions and garlic in here for this amount, but I cheated with the powder. So now my broth is ready to go. I'm gonna strain it into another pot. I'm cooking in 2 pots right now because I wasn't sure if I can actually fit all the vegetables in one, but we'll see. The tomatoes, peppers, cabbage, the peas, and mushroom. Making a big mess. Here we go. Let's bring this to boil, and while this is coming to boil, I'm also going to start boiling my canning water. Put it to high. I'm preparing my canner. To give you more detailed information about pressure canning, please go look at my other video here where I can the green beans. It's very similar as far as how you prepare your canner and what the canning process is in details. I'm gonna bring the soup to boil, and once it's boiling, I'm gonna cook it for a couple of minutes because I don't want the vegetables totally cooked just yet, because in the pressure canner they're gonna continue cooking. I'm actually gonna put some more pepper flakes in it. To give it a little bit of a kick without making it hot. So I put a tablespoon in here and see how that goes. A little more. This kind of hotness gives you spicy in the back of your throat. At the very end, just before canning it, I'm gonna add some lime juice. Put my lids. Add my rings into hot water. And as usually, I only can 5 jars at a time. The jars are in the oven. They sterilize for 15 minutes. It looks like my soup is boiling, so as I said, I'm gonna let that boil for a couple of minutes. My tomatoes are already bursting, so that's good. And my canning water is boiling as well, so it's all ready to go. So all my vegetables are on the top, so I'm gonna be careful just to take only some for each jar. And I'm gonna just kind of eyeball that for now. And as I said, mostly it's going to be broth, because that's the way I like it. I'm going to fill the jars 1/2 inch from the top. Might need to put more vegetables in here. Let me take a look. The good thing is that I do have more vegetables if I need to add to this. I just have to wash them and cut them up and add more to the remaining broth if I run out of vegetables. I'm gonna go ahead and debubble them, even though this is mostly liquid. Just like to do that for safety. And now I'm gonna wipe the rims off before I put the tops on. And now I'm gonna get the lids out of the hot water and the rings. Put them on. And then we're gonna tighten them up just enough so the lid will stay on. This is ready to go into the canner. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna repeat the same process again for the next 5 jars, and then I'll show you when the canner is full. So my canner is full with 10 pint jars of the tom yum soup. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this up on high and put the top on. And we're gonna go through the regular canning process, which is on high heat. We're gonna bring up the temperature, whereas the steam's gonna start come out from this spout, and this lock will lock. And we're gonna vent the canner at that point on medium heat for 10 minutes. Then we'll put the weight on it, and we're gonna bring the pressure up to 10 to 11 pounds. I'm gonna can this for 45 minutes based on the mushroom that's in the soup. So my canner is done venting for 10 minutes. I'm gonna put on the weight and turn it up again on high until it reaches 10 pounds, because I'm gonna be actually canning on 11 pounds, but by the time it gets to 10, I need to turn it down because I don't want it to go too much farther than that. It is now on 10 pounds of pressure and about to be 11. So I'm going to turn my heat down to almost the lowest setting. I usually do it between low and simmer. And keep an eye on the gauge. It's 11 pounds. So at this point, I'm going to start timing the 45 minutes. And I'm going to keep an eye on this to make sure it doesn't go below 11 pounds. If it does go below 11 pounds, you're going to have to start the whole process as to bringing it up to 11 and start the timing from that point on. So we'll be back when the time is up. Time is up, so now I'm just going to turn off the heat. And we're gonna step away for about an hour or so. until the pressure goes down and the canner cools off a little bit. So I did have some leftovers that I'm gonna eat fresh because I made some extra. I'll show you how I would be serving this. So let's just assume we just cracked open a jar of tom yum soup. And optionally, you could put milk, cream, or coconut milk into this. And then you can also put in some shrimp, a little bit of garnish with green onion, and squeeze some lime on it. And that's how it would look like. So enjoy. So I made sure that the pressure was on 0 and it cooled off enough where I can open the canner, and I'm removing the jars. I'm just gonna let them cool off overnight and we'll come back on the morning and check on them. This is the next morning when they all cooled off. I'm gonna remove the rings. These are reusable. I'm gonna just wash these. And all of these sealed nicely. I'm gonna just wipe these a little bit with a wet rag. Put the date on them. That's how they're gonna go to storage. So for the final recipe, I would have used 5 quarts of water, 5 teaspoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of hot pepper flakes, 4 large onions, 1 head of garlic, 2 big pieces of ginger, 4 tablespoons of lemongrass powder, 2 cups of chopped bell pepper, 3 pints of mushroom, 3 pints of cherry tomatoes, 1/4 of a small cabbage, half a pound of sugar snap peas, 3 limes, and a bunch of cilantro. Thanks for watching. See you next time.